soon as I'm done here, he's going to break out Captain Black. And we would like to start here with the man to his left, carrying the sign with the dreadlocks. You, sir. Yes, you, sir. We'd like you to start off with the Captain Black, and we're going to give everyone an opportunity, everyone that can legally smoke it in this state. We won't get into that issue with it today.
If you're under 18, then please don't do it, because we'll get in trouble for contributing to the delinquency of a minor, okay?
Anyway, what you all are doing here today is you are witnesses. You are all witnesses to show that glass can be used to smoke tobacco. Yeah. Just inside these walls. Thank you. Just inside these walls, the policemen that had harassed us over a year ago were asked, can these be used for tobacco? And they said no. All right, you're all going to help us to be testament as we all share in a brotherly passing, just like the white man and the Indian when they met the first time before the white man killed them all. All right, let's all be brotherly and loving and share a puff and then pass it to your brother. And while we're passing around the Captain Black, this is perfectly legal, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely legal tobacco. This is a clean glass pipe. Nothing to be afraid of. While you're passing around the Captain Black, think positive thoughts. Pray for our brothers behind these walls and the walls around. Pray for those who have been killed by the police in this attack against marijuana and other drugs. Just keep good, pleasant thoughts in your mind. Pray for the officers who are violating us. And actually, Brian, could you bring that up here? Instead of that, I think we're going to start right here, ladies and gentlemen. We want you to see this is fine right here. And as we get the Captain Black going around, I'm going to turn over the steps here to the Uniting Spirits. They are the organization that's traveling across the country to enlighten about the need for peace in America and around the globe, basically, folks. And so at this time, as Brian here gets the Captain Black going, I'd like to introduce Josh from the United Spirits. Josh, you want to come on up here and tell us a little bit about what your organization is about?
Take a puff, think about purging Henry County Court of evil spirits. Off the luck.
Woo! There it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's tobacco. They call it paraphernalia. We now know it's a tobacco pipe. And if those of you out there don't smoke pipe tobacco, I warn you, do not take a big hit.
All right, my name's Josh, and I'm here to tell you a little bit for Leonard Peltier, Mumia Jamal, which are both political prisoners that have been imprisoned for on false charges. We also did prayer circle for prisoners of the drug war too. We're trying to raise all different types of awareness and break down barriers among all kinds of groups. Some of the ideas that we want to do is 420. All right, 420 guys.
All right, 420. Woo!
Yeah. Some of the ideas that we want to do in the future is we want to have like volleyball games with hippies, gutter punks, police officers, ministers, city officials, all different types of people to come together and play together like we used to play together when we were kids, and just kind of like have a lot of fun doing that. We're trying to raise awareness on environmental issues. Right now our waters are being dumped in, our trees are being cut down. There's so many things that are happening right now. These multinational corporations have basically taken over, and they're in on the whole drug war too. You know, they're making a profit off of throwing us in prison right now. They're building more and more prisons, and they're throwing more and more of our brothers and sisters in jail. And I think that we, the people, need to come together and stick up for our brothers and sisters that are in jail, because if we don't come together, things are just going to continually to get worse. So we, people from all tribes, all nations, people from all colors, all ways, and all walks of life need to come together and stand up for what's right. We're walking to Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. The convention this year is a little bit significant. The last time the convention was in Chicago was 1968. For those of you that don't know what happened in 1968, the protesters were in protesting the Vietnam War, and they were wanting to camp out in Grant Park. And what ended up happening was there ended up being a major riot. And it's kind of synchronistic this year because Mayor Daley was in office then, his son is in office now, Democratic convention's back, there's all types of organizations, groups, people coming together, coalition building, raising all different types of awareness. So we encourage you all to come that way, but what I want to go to now, that there's all these things happening all over the globe right now. Tribal people being pushed off their land, and then they're pushed off their land in these foreign countries, they're killed. And I mean, there's sweatshops where they have little kids, like in these little, forcing them to work, and there's so many things that our brothers and sisters are crying out for help. And I want to go into now is world peace starts with ourselves. Inner peace.
Yes.
And to have inner peace, we need to love ourselves, we need to love everyone, and we need to make a connection with the Spirit. God, Jehovah, Takasha, I mean there's over 2,000 names for the Spirit. And we need to find that peace within ourselves, because this war is not going to be fought, this war is not going to be fought violently, it's going to be fought with love. We need to love our brothers and sisters, we need to help our brothers and sisters. So I just encourage all of you guys to activize yourselves. Get involved, sweep out the corruption within yourself so we can sweep out the corruption within our evil system. So I just want to say that I love you guys all so much, and if you'd like more information on the Peace Walk, come and get in contact with us. We're also running, I hate to bring this in, but we're also running a little bit low on funds. We're down to $11 in the kitty. So if you could make a small contribution into our bucket to help put gas in our vehicles. And we also encourage you to put prayers, thoughts, positive energy. That's kind of like our gas. It's kind of like what gets us, going. And so, if you guys have any thoughts, or if you'd like to even write down like a positive message or anything, put it in the bucket, and we'll take a message to the convention. We're also doing like interviews. If you'd like to say, a brief something of what you would like to say, something that raises awareness, raises consciousness, any type of statement, come to this video camera and make a statement. And I just love you guys all so much. Peace.
Anyone else would like to join us at the glass of the Captain Black who hasn't? We'd like to really have you join us. This is a uniting, it's like a peace pipe, ladies and gentlemen. It's a peace pipe between brothers in the same struggle. So please feel free to join us. Did you want to say something? Oh, okay, sorry, it's right down. Okay, what I was hoping to do is we're going to tell a few stories. You've already heard a little bit about our case. Let me just reiterate, because there's a lot of similar sounds to these cases. We've talked to dozens of people from this county, and it always sounds the same. They pull you over for a traffic violation. They pull you over for some bogus reason. They don't like the way you look is what it amounts to, folks. Or they don't like the way that your car looks is what it amounts to. They say if they do have, you may have a taillight out or something like that, they're going to pull you over for it. Now they're going to say either that you're acting nervous, they're going to ask you if you have any drugs or illegal guns, that kind of thing, and whatever you answer, if you look like you may smoke marijuana, you're going to be searched. They're going to have you hold you there. Now that's exactly what happened in our case. We had a taillight out. I guess they didn't like the Mexican poncho I was wearing and my long hair, and so we therefore had all of our stuff thrown out into the rain, and we were searched. Now, that's going to happen a lot to you folks if it hasn't already. We got people running from this county. They're petrified to even be here today, and they live here. They know the judges. They know the people that would be on a jury to put them away. yet they're afraid to come here because they know that a jury doesn't mean much these days with the tyrannical government that we have, the way it's operating. Anybody's got a story out there that they'd like to share that took place in this county, we'd be welcome to have you come up and tell us how they beat you up, they searched you without a warrant, you've been in probation, you're still on probation. If anybody wants to come tell the story and maybe get a little support from their community, then come on up. Stage is open. Where we got a story?
Hi, I'm Chris Rice, and I'm from the City Hemp Coalition, and we're glad to see you all here today. Basically, we've been up in the Quad Cities. We've been working at this here for 6 years. We've been educating people about hemp, letting them know about hemp. These shoes here are hemp. This hip sack is hemp. Hemp makes cloth that's 25 times stronger than cotton. The original word for canvas is the Dutch pronunciation of cannabis, okay? All canvas was made out of hemp. The ships that Christopher Columbus sailed over here to America on were made out of hemp. The first American flag, Betsy Ross, sewed out of hemp canvas. The original Levi's jeans, on your Levi's, you notice that it'll have two horses tugging on a pair of pants, you know, showing their strength. Well, the original Levi's were made out of tent canvas, okay? They were sold to gold miners in San Francisco in 1849, okay? Hemp has been around for a long time. Carl Sagan, foremost anthropologist, said that hemp was the first plant ever cultivated by mankind. We were a hunter-gatherer society, and we just wandered around. We didn't need police, we didn't need courts, we were just small tribes that settled amongst ourselves by consensus, okay? And then about 12,000 years ago in the Mideast, this plant hemp, people started planting it to make cloth out of it, to use the seed, which is 38% protein for food, okay? And when they planted these plants, they wanted to make sure they were there when they harvested them, so they had to protect their fields. And that is where police and courts come in, okay? They had to hire people to protect their fields, and that's how police started, okay? And now, today, it's the opposite. The police are there to oppress the plant. I find it rather strange how history goes in cycles, okay? Basically, in the Quad Cities, we've done a pretty good job of educating the average citizen about hemp, okay? But we still haven't won, okay? And the thing is we're not just taking on hemp now, we're taking on the whole war on drugs, okay? Because it's the war on drugs that keeps us from being able to use hemp for cloth and fiber, the oil to run our vehicles with and lubricate our machines with, okay? The plane that George Bush was in World War II, the engine was lubricated with hemp seed oil, okay? And the parachute, when he jumped out of the plane that saved his life, the rigging was made from hemp, okay? In 1940s, 3 years after it was made illegal, the government was asking the American farmer to grow hemp to help us win World War II, because our fiber in Asia had been cut off, okay? One of the reasons why we were fighting in Japan was because control over the South Pacific Islands, all right? And the reason why we needed to control them islands was because what they could do for our economy. And what they did for our economy is that those islands, they grew plants that we used for rope and stuff after we made hemp illegal, okay? Before that, we didn't need it. But now we needed these plants to be able to make our fiber, because we couldn't grow it here, okay? Because hemp was illegal. Then when we went to war with these countries, we couldn't depend on them for our fibers, and so then we asked the American farmer to grow hemp again. Now, what we'd like to see, and the reason we're here in Henry County, is because Henry County is one big drug war atrocity. Hemp grows everywhere. It grows along every single road in Henry County, okay? And as it is, it just sits there. And people driving down the road that are just passing through the state from California or whatever, they see pot plants all over the side of the road. Whoa! And they freak out. And they stop their car and they jump out and they grab a plant. And they see another one and they grab it. And they grab a whole bunch of plants and they're just going nuts. All this pot! Woo! And they jump in their car and they start to pull off, and all of a sudden, woo! Woo! Police step out of the car, you know, these people end up going to jail for 3 years and stuff for this ditchweed that grows along the road. It's a plant, for Christ's sake, okay? That grows wild. And these people end up going to jail for 3 years, and this ditchweed can't even get you high. Have you ever smoked ditchweed? Who smoked ditchweed? Do you smoke it today? No, but you'll pay $200 an ounce for pot that works. But you will ignore the ditchweed because you know about it, all right? But these people from out of state, they don't know. They smoke this ditchweed and they go to jail. Now, it's absurd, people. It can't even get you high, all right? We just had a demonstration in Davenport. They had a Bix Festival, and we demonstrated during that. And the Bix Jazz Festival, 4-day jazz fest in honor of a jazz musician from Davenport, Iowa. And he died in 1931 from alcohol abuse, okay? Bix was a reefer smoker. He smoked reefer before every set, and in his early days he didn't really like alcohol, but towards the end he became an alcoholic. Now, the important thing here is that alcohol was illegal when Bix died. It was illegal from 1920 to 1933, and pot wasn't illegal, okay? So this guy was smoking reefer and drinking alcohol. And the thing is that he probably would have been drinking alcohol all along. They made alcohol illegal, so people started introducing new drugs. Marijuana, well, herbs, whatever, marijuana, and heroin took off, and all kinds of other drugs took off, cocaine. People started using those in lieu of alcohol. So basically what we're saying is that the drug war actually increases drug usage. Another reason why the drug war increases drug usage is because most people that use marijuana from time to time will sell a bag to help get theirs for cheaper, okay? The fact that we have to pay $200 for an ounce of pot that should cost no more than $1 an ounce makes it so that we go out and seek new people to use it, and we're, you know, to buy it so that we can afford to smoke it ourselves, all right? The drug war also increases violence, okay? If you, if somebody breaks into your house, and every thief knows that you can rip off a drug user because he's not going to call the cops, okay? You break into their house, you steal their stereo, and you steal their pot, okay? And then the person who gets ripped off can't call the cops, and either you let him get away with it, and if you let them get away with it, every thief knows that they can just rob you and get away with it, or you take it into your own hands. And how do you do that? The only alternative is violence, okay? And this is what happens. The drug war increases violence. Even the most peaceful people are sometimes pushed into it as a result, okay? The drug war increases crime. They try to portray a picture that everybody who uses drugs is a big-time thief, and we all steal to pay for our drugs, okay? Well, that is not true. What is true is that there are some people who are thieves and criminals and have no respect for people who happen to use drugs. And they use drugs as an excuse to steal. If it wasn't drugs, it'd be something else. They're stealing for the rush from stealing, okay? It's a thrill. And some of them happen to use drugs. Well, the thing is that they're going to steal to pay for an expensive drug, and they're going to pay 500 times what it's really worth in the fair market because it's illegal, and it costs a lot to get it to the customer because it's illegal and it's way overpriced. That if they have to pay 500 times more for their drug than what it's worth on the open market, doesn't that mean that they would have to steal 500 times more to pay for it? Okay, that's an important thing. What we'd like to see here is, this is the first time I believe that anything like this has ever happened in Henry County. And I don't think that after today that Henry County is going to bow down and see the light, okay? So what's going to happen is we're going to have to do this again. And all you people here from Henry County, it's up to you, all right? Now, we've got the City Hemp Coalition, and there's hemp coalitions all over the country and different activist groups. And what we need is a Henry County Hemp Coalition, okay? What do you guys think of that?
Yeah.
A Henry County Hemp Coalition, okay? And this right here is where we plant the seed, okay? You people are the seed, and from here we will grow, all right? Until there are thousands of us, and they cannot refuse us, all right? We could have more people here. This town only has 2,000 people in it. There are more than 2,000 hemp smokers in Henry County, okay? And if we can only get the people that use it to stand up, I think that's enough, because there's only a small amount of people that actually support the war against us. Okay, it's just a few percentage points that actually are doing the work against us, all right? And then there's a few people that just kind of go along with it because it seems like the thing to do. And then there's a whole bunch of people in the middle who really don't care, okay? And would just as soon save the tax money, all right? And then there's some people that kind of side towards us, and then there's us, okay? And the thing is we don't have to have the majority. We don't have to have 50%. We have to have enough. That's how many people we have to have, enough, okay? And if you know that only maybe 30% of the eligible voters vote in any election anyway, okay? Well, 30% of the people in Henry County use cannabis, at least from time to time, I guarantee it, okay? So if we could get those 30% that use cannabis to vote, well, we'd have at least half the votes, okay, if they didn't vote already. So what do you say? Is everybody going to go register tomorrow at this courthouse if you're not registered to vote? And in this next election, we're going to vote. And we're going to try and see if we can get somebody to run against Judge Barnes, all right? This judge has been running around this county for a long time, allowing the police to violate our rights by refusing to hear complaints about those violations. He gives people 90 days. I got a friend who got 6 months for probation violation. He failed a urinalysis because he'd been arrested with cannabis, and he had 2 years probation and was given urinalysis once a month, and he failed one. And they violated his probation and gave him 6 months in jail. And his original charge was 1 joint. Okay, and people get 50 years. You see on the news every night, there's cars driving down the highway here, and they pull them over, you know, and basically anybody who's Mexican or black driving through Henry County is getting pulled over. Anybody with long hair is getting pulled over, and that's pretty much most people here. Anyone with the tie-dye, anyone that they don't like the way you look, you're getting pulled over and you're getting searched, okay? That's a well-known fact. You see it on the news every night. They probably bust an average of 1,000 pounds of cannabis a week on the highways going through here. They receive awards from the DEA, and they usually beat counties along the border in Texas for how many busts they make on the highway, okay? And they have not stopped with all these busts and all the thousands of dollars it's costing Illinois taxpayers to stop people from another state from getting their drugs because it's going through on the highway. And you got to remember, those drugs are going to somebody. It could be to us. That's our hemp, okay? That's our hemp. That they spend all this money trying to stop it, and they have not stopped one single person from scoring a bag, okay? All this expense, and there's not one social benefit to it whatsoever, okay? They take nonviolent people who are only helping people get high, who come up to them and ask them for it, and they're taking them and they're sending them to jail for up to 50 years and stuff for having a trunk full of pot. And they haven't stopped one person from getting high, and there's no social benefit, okay? So anyway, I'm through talking from now. I got Cottonmouth going, and we'll turn it back over to Roger and Brian. Or sure, Brian. All right.
Thanks, Chris Rice.
Have a good day.
Okay, thanks, Chris. I would like to expand a little bit more on what Chris is saying about the drug war. What it actually does is it creates much more violence in the country. He mentioned the way that drugs in the society itself being illegal create higher wages, therefore more theft and various other crimes. However, I'd like to point out the other phase of the violence that the drug war has created and perpetuates. That is violence against American citizens by agents of government. We have guys dressed in long, tall boots, wearing big guns, carrying big sticks, and a bad attitude, a lot of them, by the way. It goes right along with that, and they are the ones perpetuating violence on us Americans. They're doing it in the form of searching us without our consent, even though they've seen no crimes committed, no violation of the law whatsoever. Now this is violence, folks. This is the violence that we need to stop. We need to reverse this trend of the agents of government. They're acting like Nazis, folks. You go read stories, go to World War II, and you'll read the history. Read American news media during the 40s, and you will see that they talk about the Nazis and the Japanese and Mussolini and Lenin. They talk about these guys just being the devil. Well, what were they doing? If you find out why they were calling them the devils, because they had their SS men out there without any rules, without any regulations, kicking in doors, hauling people away in the middle of the night. Does that sound familiar? They're doing it all over all over this country now to Americans. That's the violence that this begets. That's another form of violence. That's the most insane violence that I can think of out of this whole drug war. What I want to do, actually, I may have some more things to say in a little bit, but right now I'm going to close this part. So I'm going to see if she's okay. Anyway, I want to talk to you all a little bit about the last hope in America that we have to defend and protect our friends and our families from this kind of agencies and tyranny. And that is the jury. He mentioned earlier that he wants everybody in Henry County to go on out, register to vote, and let's vote Barnes out of office. Well, there's a lot of judges who need voted out of office, but we can start there. Once you're registered to vote, so that you can vote these judges out of office, you will then start to receive subpoenas. You will be asked to come in as a juror. The juror is the single most powerful person in the country. One man, when called to hear a case against a fellow American, one man can set him free. If you ever called on a jury to hear a pot case, you are ever called on a jury to hear some bogus violation of a fishing or hunting permit or building on your dwelling, I'm telling you, Daniel Boone did not get permission to build a porch on his cabin. Okay? You as a juror have the right to return freedom to America, because when you're called to serve and to do your civic duty, that is an honor, folks. That is an honor to be able to hear the case and to possibly set a citizen free. Nothing can happen to you. Even if the judge informs you once you're on the jury that you must follow his instructions and find this man guilty, if you hold up the court and if you demand an innocent plea, it's called either hanging the jury, or you will reverse the jury's decision, or you will mistrial it. But either way, your lone voice, you will stand up for freedom as a juror. Keep that in mind when you register to vote, and some of you young people here may be the next judge in this county. It's a small county. It's your friends and your family who will be voting for you. You must remember, though, whether you make it to be judge or merely a juror, you are powerful. Matter of fact, the juror is more powerful than the judge. Let's not forget that. As I close up here, if anybody else has anything they'd like to say, we're going to get back into a few minutes of drumming, and we'll try and make some information available to anybody who would like some further assistance back here. We also would like you all to sign anybody who's been convicted, anybody who just wants to wish well, I believe. You sign the banner? Is that the deal? Okay. Anyway, we'll take another break, folks, and thanks for listening so intent. We'll have some more fun here coming up in a little while. We got a jug and a glass, and we'll be happy to give water to anybody. One of the problems we had in this very courthouse, folks, we had 3 different hearings where we begged for water. They were long hearings, half a day, some of them. They wouldn't give us water now. We brought our own jugs. They yelled at us for bringing our own jugs of water. What I'm going to tell every one of you here now, that I believe in freedom. If you're thirsty or parched, even if you're being tried, you should have a glass of water. Any of you are thirsty? yet to learn what it means to be sued and the costs that are going to be involved there. Now, the way I'd like you to report it to your paper is that these people are violating the rights of citizens by the hemp violations. You just heard the conversations that we had, the benefits we were telling the folks about hemp, how it can save the planet, how it's totally safer than nicotine and alcohol. And the other part of it is to teach people their rights. We got into a little bit of that earlier, teach them what to do when the police stop them. You need to demand warrants, you need to demand counsel. They're going to violate you anyway, but if you don't demand these rights, then you waive them. In America, rights are only given to the ones who belligerently claim them, so we need to learn to do so. What else are you interested in? You know, I don't want to bore you there, but we've been talking constitutionalism and, you know...
These are our transcripts.
And you, if you live in the county, paid for these transcripts. You paid $2 a page so that the police could harass and intimidate citizens, but you paid $2 so that for this paperwork, we're going to use this to defend ourselves in the appellate courts all the way to the Supreme Court, because we are innocent of any criminal activity. And what this paperwork will show, these transcripts will show, is that we had the police officers admitting and confessing at every hearing. They would admit and confess that they had violated their oath, they had violated the rules, they didn't understand the procedure, and many of the cops actually went back and forth with some of their answers, so we're not sure if they understand the law or not. However, these transcripts are all the power we need.
It was just possession of drug paraphernalia.
Drug paraphernalia and possession of cannabis.
But they were both
A total of
misdemeanors.
17 grams. They were both misdemeanors. Absolutely correct. And so this county is going through all this energy and effort for misdemeanors. They've spent already more money than they expect to get out of us in fines just for the transcripts. One of the things they do in America is they charge a person who wants to defend himself. They charge him so much to get transcripts. You see that's $2 a page. Okay, now what they do in America is they'll charge you, if you want to defend yourself and take it to the Supreme Court, they're going to charge you $2 a page just for the transcripts. What that amounts to is it costs you more to fight to be free, even if you're innocent. It costs you more than to succumb and pay a measly fine. That is tyranny. That is extortion. That is telling you that it's easier to pay the fine even if you're innocent. Well, we're here to say, folks, everywhere need to learn that it's not easier to succumb to tyranny. Gandhi proved that in India. They finally won over against the tyranny through peaceful means. We're here through peaceful means. We use the system against them, the same system they use against us. And the problem is that we actually read what the rules say when you go to the system. We're not sure that they do, because we never find anybody who follows the rules as we do. They call us patriots, they call us freemen, they call us terrorists, militiamen, whatever we are. We're not any of those things. We're not terrorists, we're peaceful. We use their system.
Still from Colorado?
Yeah, I still live in Colorado.
You're from Rock Falls originally?
I'm originally from Rock Falls, you bet. You bet. And things haven't changed a whole lot in Rock Falls. They used to be pretty backwoods and they throw you in jail pretty easy for pot. Now all that's happened is they throw a lot more people in jail and they pull over a lot more people looking for pot. The hemp still grows wild in the fields out here, but they don't seem to care about that. They don't seem to care that it can save the planet. And so on. Yeah, I'm from Rock Falls. And Rock Falls and these small communities in Illinois actually need our help, because the policies and the agencies in Illinois across the country end up, if you were to look at the drug laws across the country, the Illinois agencies and the Illinois statutes happen to be some of the strictest. And it's been my experience that the officers who enforce some of these really strict Illinois statutes that, like I say, could have come straight from communist China, they're so bad, but they actually seem to enjoy it.
When did you leave Whiteside County? Have you been gone?
I've been in Denver for 15 years, yes. And I make it back here every other year roughly to visit family and friends and take in the humidity and the bugs. Beautiful place to grow up. I still love the community. Yeah, I'm from Colorado now. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be here by choice. I'm not here by choice. 14 months ago, the Geneseo Police Department made me come in here today. There was 230 tobacco pipes. They took 230 tobacco pipes, roughly, give or take a few.
And you call them tobacco pipes, cops call them?
Oh, they call them paraphernalia, actually. However, I'm not sure what they use to make those distinctions, because if you were to also go and read their statutes, they can be interpreted many, many ways. Now, if you read their statutes actually say paraphernalia can be anything that can be used to consume, ingest, rub in your belly, whatever, narcotics. Okay. Okay, so in other words, virtually everything known to man could end up being, have you ever seen a potato pipe? Back here in Illinois when I was a kid, all the old farmers taught me this trick. You take a potato and you stuff up. You cut a hole out of it and then you drill a hole with a pencil. Now you have yourself a potato pipe. Now that is paraphernalia, folks. Now what could happen is they could outlaw potatoes. They could outlaw cigarette rolling papers,
Smoke it out
and
of.
so on.
I smoke with a pen.
You can smoke out of anything. You can smoke out of a pen. So the absurdity of this argument is that they interpret however they want, what they want, and when they want to be drug paraphernalia. Otherwise, everything that they would otherwise consider household items, forceps that they use in the hospital to close, wounds and to close out veins while they're doing surgery, could be considered paraphernalia. They literally could outlaw anything, and therefore what they've done is, since the most of society, including most of the agents of government, the police department, the judges, the prosecutors, most of these people are actually drug addicts. They just get around being called and being labeled that way because the drugs that they use, they've somehow been labeled legal. However, they may be nicotine and alcohol, much more deadly and dangerous and addictive than cannabis or many other substances. We have some of the biggest drug addicts in the world working for the agencies of government. The judges, the police, they're all drug addicts, yet they don't like to see it that way.
When you left Whiteside County, did you leave with these same beliefs, or is this something you picked up later on?
Look, I'm glad you asked me that question because actually, when I grew up in Whiteside County, like most of the people here in Henry County, they had been lied to their whole life. Without someone like me to inform them that possibly something else had happened. Did you grow up in the county? Okay, now you also.
Can we step? There's some noxious odor that's causing my allergies.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm sorry about that.
I personally do not want someone running my life. I don't want the government running my life. I didn't ask them to. I want to be free in my own world to travel and do things as I want to do. It's bullshit that you have to have passports to go into other countries. God gave us this whole world to walk across. We need to come together and stop letting our brothers and sisters fall down to the beast, to the government. The people in the government, they're sick too. They're our brothers and sisters. They just don't know. They don't think about what they're doing. We need to come together and make them aware.
Yes.
I love all of you. Please demand respect for yourself as an individual. It's very important. You have the right to be who you are and do what you need to do to be happy and live. And don't let anyone take this away from you. And I love you all very much.
Nine Spirits made a card for the Quad City Hemp Coalition, and also for Shauna, Laura, Trisha, Chris, and Heidi for opening their house and letting all these freaks into the house. And we appreciate it so much, and we learned so much here and grew a lot here and just had a wonderful time here. And we all signed it, and so I just kind of like to pass that around. And just once again, I love you guys all so much, and peace starts with you.
I just was sitting here and I remembered something kind of funny about Henry County, and it reminds me a little bit of the ridiculousness of the drug war and the oppression of the American government in general. My brother's in-laws, mother and father-in-law, were originally from Henry County, and they had made arrangements to go on their first date together, and they were going to go out on this first date. And so so Norris, the father, is driving to go pick up this girl for their first date, and it's gonna be something, you know, a first date, you know, we'll see how it works. And he's driving and he gets arrested in Henry County, no less, for driving the wrong way down a parking lot. And that's just the way the government has been being, and it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I think we all have brains. I mean, if we all developed our brains enough to speak, I think we can learn to govern ourselves a little bit better than that. I'm a prisoner of the drug war right now, and I got, well, I never actually got taken to jail, but I got sentenced to 18 months probation and been fined about $3,000 for 2 grams of a substance that the laboratory said contained psilocybin in it. The substance itself was unidentifiable, as it was a little bit of powder in the corner of a baggie. But it's funny that the government has the power to do that to me, because one day I was sitting around my house and some good friends came over and brought me some of these psilocybin mushrooms, and I ate them. And I was sitting there and I was empty, and I was desperate for an answer, and I was desperate for anything in the darkness of this world that could possibly help me. And something came out of all the swirling madness of my mind and the tenseness of this universe. Something came to me, and I don't know if I would have saw that without those mushrooms. So maybe I could say that that little bit of enlightenment that I got has led me to having some certain religious beliefs. And I believe that those religious beliefs were granted to me in the founding of this country.
Yeah.
And while I was sitting there high on the couch of my friend's house, something came out and said to me, "Michael, the answer is love." And it was all plain and simple to me right then, and it was all quite beautiful. And I realized that what I just experienced was probably some of the things that formed many of the religions of the people of this earth. And so I have to stop and wonder how the people that are running this government must feel deep down inside when they reach that point in their mind where they know everything that is true and is right, and they realize what they've done to us and what they're doing. Peter Tosh said it best, I think, when he said, "I wouldn't like to be a flea under your collar, man," because what they've done in oppressing these people of America is wrong, and it's gonna have to stop, because the spirit is not gonna let it go on forever as long as one person finds spiritual enlightenment or clarity for themselves, or physical relaxation, or anything that leads your spirit to feeling fuller or better. Then you are doing what you were put here to do, and that is to be a creative, wonderful, happy, full, beautiful individual. And when anyone tries to stop that, and anybody tries to take that away from you, you stand up and you know who you are, that free spirit. And when they try to break that spirit, they're going to break themselves, because karma will come back and get them. The law of the universe: if you give, you're going to get, and if you take, you're going to be taken from. I wouldn't like to be a flea under the collar of the down-presser man that's running this country and this show today, because it's a very, very, very sad thing what could happen to somebody like that. But I want to thank the spirits and thank everything that we're all here together and we're alive and happy and free. And we're going to come back to Henry County, and we're going to bring more of our friends, and it's going to be great.
Like into giving big speeches or anything, but I just wanted to make a statement in case anybody thought that we weren't winning the war on drugs. In September of 1995, they stopped the DARE program in LA County because it is not working. There is no DARE program in LA County anymore.
say a funny story about something that happened down in Gainesville, Florida earlier this year or last year, I can't remember. Well, actually 2 years ago they had a doobie toss out at the Hemp Fest, and they came out with this big old box, and they were passed out a ton of doobies, and it was like a success. I think only a few people got arrested. Well, the next year they were ready for the doobie tosser, and the doobie tosser came down with this big old box, and the cops just swarmed in on him, and they broke open the box, and they were just yanking out all kinds of donuts. And actually they ended up with some arrests, and the Hemp family down in New Orleans has been back and forth between Gainesville and taking this to court and challenging them in court. So it's good that people are standing up for the rights. I got one more donut story. We were actually on the pilgrimage earlier this year, and we had some cops come by, and we just dumpster dive a bunch of donuts, and we actually had a cop come on the bus and eat donuts with us. That was cool. So there are some cool cops out there, and
just like donuts.
and they like donuts. Yeah.
Don't know where they came from.
Anyone else have any stories?
Bad cop, no donut.
Cool.
Yeah, about police officers. Because, those people that we refer to as cops kind of make a lot of us angry, because the oppression that we feel from the multinational corporation, that corporate monarchy that rules our lives, with Burger King and gasoline and all these things that we're forced to work for, to provide for ourselves, to get ourselves deeper and deeper in debt. Well, a lot of our energy, our negative energy, our regret of all that goes into, goes toward police officers. And it just doesn't fit with, when I was growing up, I learned that America had a history. Political leaders, these people founded it, patriots, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, people who grew hemp, by the way, and laid out a constitution for me to have rights. Well, when I started growing up, I realized that a lot of those rights I really didn't have anymore. A lot of times freedom of speech, freedom of the press and religion, a lot of the rights to know, to have information weren't really there, or were trying to cover it up by these police officers who were following orders. So I hated cops. I thought it was bull crap for a while, all my energy went into hating them, and it was a war against the cops. But really, they're people like us. I didn't realize that till my house got raided a couple of years ago. There was about 12 cops in my house, threw me on the ground, had guns up in my face, broke down my door to arrest me for an eighth of marijuana, like 4 grams. And they threw me on the couch and were interrogating me, and then I didn't really say much of anything. I just watched them stomp around my house at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what? They didn't really want to be there. They might have had ideals because of things they learned when they were growing up, that America had a reason for being and that there was a reason to protect that Constitution. But now a lot of those police officers who are making those busts are just doing their job, paying their mortgage because they're sucked into that corporate monarchy, trying to feed their kids and get their medical bills paid so their kids can grow up and maybe have a better life that was really, truly based on the Constitution. I think I can feel the love and support, even though a lot of police officers don't come out and say it or say that they can't have an opinion, they've got to be told what to do. I can feel a lot of those police officers in bed at night praying that this war on drugs is ended, that praying that they don't have to lie anymore, praying that they can tell the truth they learned in school, that they can tell the truth of America so that we all might be free. So let's just tell the truth right now. There is no war on drugs. If a police officer comes up to you and tries to tell you what your rights are, and you're informed and that they can't search your person or your vehicle without your permission, or they can't talk you into admitting to something that you haven't done, just tell them the truth. Tell them that I have rights and that I am praying that we all heal, that you and I can one day find the peace, because that's what everybody's looking for, the peace in their hearts. That's what all of you are looking for, I assume. That's what all the police officers and all the judges are looking for, some security, some friendship. So let's all love each other. That was right, that brother Michael who just said that. Love is the answer.
So we've got to come out of our cannabis closet and show these people that we are citizens. I mean, most of us have jobs. We pay our taxes. We just want to come home, you know, at 420 and relax and enjoy some herb. You know, maybe we don't want to support Budweiser. Well, Budweiser has the political clout. I mean, they got Bob Dole in his pocket. So we got to show our government that this is going to change. So vote for third-party candidates. Get out there and help petition for third-party candidates. Call your state lawmakers that are in office now and tell them that what they're doing is not right. It has to change. They do listen to you. I mean, I talk to a lot of people that say, well, I'm afraid to call my state lawmaker. Well, your state lawmaker is not the person who's going to turn you in. He just wants to hear from citizens, you know, to find out what's going on. I've been running this public access TV show now for 2.5 years, and I keep running this commercial. You know, it says, call your state lawmakers, and I know it's working because I go to the forums for state lawmakers in Scott County, and I walk in the door and they know who I am. You know, they go, oh, there's that hemp guy, and he's been telling all these people to call us, and they have been calling him. So we got to keep working on it, keep the momentum going. We're winning the war. It seems like every time we win a battle, they throw something else up against us and tromp on the Constitution. And the only way we're going to defeat this thing is to get your family and your friends to jump on this bandwagon and demand that this end. And I don't know, the federal government is just, they're so corrupt. You know, Senator Grassley sends a letter to my dad and it says there's only 2% of the people in federal prison for drugs. You know that, and everybody knows that's a bunch of crap. You know, they're just lying to us. So you're not going to get very far with the federal government unless we get third-party candidates and they're like libertarians. Now on the state level, you can get to your state level people because they're from your communities. You know, it gets you and your neighbors and your parents and everybody hassling your state lawmakers. They're going to start thinking that something has to change, you know. So that's what you got to do. You got to tell your friends what's going on. You got to get your parents involved in this. You know, most of you probably know, your parents probably know you smoke pot. So if you're up front with them about it, they'll maybe realize that it really isn't that bad a deal, you know. Just get involved. We really appreciate everybody that came out, you know. This is really a good thing to see people here in Henry County standing up against this Judge Barnes and all the atrocities that are going around here. So get involved, call those state lawmakers, and you know, if you can, talk to the press, tell them about your stories. You made up signs. You know, form Henry County Hemp Coalition. We really like to see that. I think you got a good start going here, and so let's have a hemp festival in Henry County. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Walk around the building, and like I think it could be fun.
it.
We're back, and we're not going away. This is it.
Free the people, free the weak. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your drug war. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Want your drug war? 2, 3, 4. We don't want your drug war.
We don't want your drug war. 4. We don't want your drug war. 1, 2, 3. We don't want your drug war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop taking our rights away. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your drug war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop taking our rights away. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your drug war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop taking our rights away. All right. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna do this again until we have our rights. Until they let every drug war prisoner free, we will come back here. And I will see all of you here. And everybody will bring all your friends. And they'll bring their friends. And they'll bring their friends. And we will have thousands of people here. And they will not be able to ignore us. Hey everybody, how about one more time? You know, there's a lot of war drug prisoners, but you know, the cops, they aren't free either, like we were saying before. We've all got to free everybody, so you know, free them from having to enforce laws that they don't even believe in. So we love you one more time, all right? 1, 2, 3. We